We're back with another part of Gandhi Naked Ambition by Chad Adams. This is part 12, I guess. Uh, I think the name of the chapter is Chastity. Something that's got to do with chastity, so let's roll. During his long marches in the sparsely populated land, he had fallen again to thinking that what he should do to bring himself closer to spiritual self-realization. He came to the decision, he later recorded, that he must accept poverty as a constant companion throughout life, and that without celibacy he could not serve humanity with his whole soul. I should have more and more occasions for service of the kind I was rendering, and I should find myself unequal to the task if I were engaged in the pleasures of family life and in the propagation and rearing of children. This is presented as a renunciation of sex and the embracing of chastity, hardly a novel concept since it was part of Hindu and Buddhist thought, had been a Christian concept at least since the time of Saint Jerome, and had significant influence in the Catholic and Greek Orthodox traditions. It is celibacy that has kept Catholicism green up to the present day, Gandhi said. In the Hindu and Jain traditions, chastity was normally reserved for older men who had already families. It has no place in Judaism or Islam. In Gandhi's formulation, it seems less a renunciation of sexual desire than a rejection of wife and family. When Tolstoy similarly renounced his sexual nature when he was writing his novella of sexual disgust, The Kreutzer Sonata, in 1880–1890, his wife interpreted it as a rejection of her. Gandhi discussed with his cousins Chaganlal, Maganlal and others whether he should stop having sex with his wife. He had been attempting to rein in his powerful sexual urges at least since 1900, when the long marches during the Boer War had given him similar time for reflection. But he considered that he had failed in the past because his motive was not pure. He had simply wanted to have no more children. Now in the mid-1906, he made a decision and announced it, consulting with Kasturba only when he was about to take the vow. As usual, Gandhi was seized with enthusiasm for his new idea and encouraged others to follow suit. In December 1907, he was telling readers of the Indian opinion. Adultery does not consist merely in sexual intercourse with another man's wife. We are taught by every religion that there can be adultery even in intercourse with one's own wife. Sexual intercourse is justified only when it's the result of a desire for offspring. It's the duty of every thoughtful Indian not to marry. In case he is helpless in regard to marriage, he should abstain from sexual intercourse with his wife. Wow, man. Gandhi's ambition had been thwarted previously, he felt, because he had not made the brahmacharya vow. Up to this time I had not met with success because the will had been lacking, because I had no faith in myself, no faith in the grace of God, and therefore my mind had been tossed in the boisterous sea of doubt. Once he made the vow, his sex life would no longer be a matter of self-control, but of spiritual purity, a contact with the eternal. Now he had declared his intention. How could he control his passions? He aimed at a fully integrated physical and spiritual state, so again took to experimenting with his diet, introducing fasting along with exclusive diets of fruit only or grains only. He had found, though, that changing his diet increased the relish with which his body greeted the new food. Still worse, fasting increased the appetite. Over time, he continued experimenting, deciding on such restraints as not taking tea or finishing the last meal of the day before sunset in an attempt to reduce reliance on physical sensation and to eat only precisely what the body needed. All restraint, whatever prompts it, is wholesome for men, he said. The ideal meal should be limited, simple, spiceless, and if possible uncooked. Wow. Now he's descending into madness, man. Now he was extending his dietary experiments not merely from the point of view of vegetarianism, but in order to maintain his chastity. Years of dietary experiments showed me that brahmacharya's ideal food is fresh fruit and nuts. The immunity from passion that I enjoyed when I lived on this food was unknown to me after I changed the diet. But such diets took their toll, he wrote to Dr. Friend. I think it was when I was carrying on a fruit and nut diet experiment that I damaged my teeth. I believed that I had permanently damaged 2 molars. Gandhi's ideas about diet and sex seem idiosyncratic to the point of mania, but there may have been a physiological reason why different diets worked to lower his sexual urge. He had serious constipation. His later secretary, Pyarlal, remarked, before he took to naturopathy, the Mahatma was virtually a slave to Eno's fruit salts. Every morning he put a spoonful of it at the bottom of a tumbler, poured it in water, and gulped down the fizzing liquid that gave him relief. In the reference to naturopathy, the method of Gandhi's London friend Dr. Thomas Allinson is accurate. It applies to Gandhi's condition as a young man, but Pyarlal may be referring to a later adoption of naturopathic methods. While in prison in South Africa, Gandhi remarked that he had the bad habit of taking a long time for evacuation and was unhappy when the warden or other prisoners tried to rush him at this business. He was, as usual, by no means coy about sharing his physical state with his friends. He wrote in 1909 that one should aim at a diet and eating habits that would produce feces that were consistent, free from water, and which should leave the seat without soiling it. When Gandhi was tormented by sexual thoughts, perhaps his impacted colon was pressing on his prostate gland and stimulating him sexually. This would explain why some diets by reducing his constipation would help him feel less sexual. However, the physiology worked, and it was thus that in 1907, armed with a newspaper, a spiritual community, a strict vegetarian diet, and chastity, Gandhi felt equipped to take on what was soon to be the United South African state. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. The Army of the Poor, Chapter 5. This is about South Africa and what he did there. I don't want to read this. This book is too freaking boring now. Nah. Oh, this book is so freaking boring. I think I'm gonna stop recording here. This is too freaking boring. I should have started with reading Chuck Palahniuk's Haunted first. That was an amazing book. The book I'll never forget. This book, on the other hand, is so freaking boring. So freaking boring. Anyway,